Boom. Shake it up, shake it up. Now boom.
Boom.
Shake it up,
Shake it up, shake it up. Ooh, yeah, and I want to eat some shake and bake. It's so fucking gross, dude.
I used to eat shake and bake a long time ago.
So did I. When I was a kid, my mom would always say, "Kids, we're having shake and bake for dinner." And I'd get excited, legit. They have like buffalo chicken shake and bake now, and I saw one the other day. I think it was like zesty ranch shake and bake.
I just kind of want to buy that and just eat it right out of the box.
Dude, you can mix it in like a drink and drink it.
Yeah.
Shake and bake drink. There you go.
Fuck. Why
Where's
don't I
my
just
beer,
drink
damn
a glass of butter?
Where's my beer?
You'd like to know where your beer is, wouldn't you?
Is it still sitting on your table?
Oh, no, I put it in the closet now. You don't get any fucking beer. Fuck you. I'm drinking all of it.
Hey.
You ain't getting none.
I did want it, damn it. Well, I can't help it that I woke up, then I ended up driving down the street to the local CVS and then puking all up next to the dumpster.
Nice.
Which did happen. I mean, that did happen as soon as I left your place because I really had to, but I knew you guys needed to get in the bathroom, and someone was in the bathroom, and I was like, yeah, well, I really have to puke, and I have to take a giant shit, too, so I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to drive down the street, because the local CVS down the street, it's kind of ghetto a little bit. I mean, there's nice people that go in there, but, so right next to the dumpster, I went in, walked through the fence, and I puked. So, cool story.
That's sick.
Yeah.
You're sick.
That's what happens when you hang out with an epic film guy until 3 a.m. and record stuff, and then you don't remember anything that happened, except for falling asleep to watching Jim and Andy. I was watching that again. I do remember that. That's all I remember, I think. Did we record anything? I think we did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was a whole fucking episode. We did it last week.
Oh, that's what that was. I thought that was something that we did like 2 years ago or something.
I wish. We were both so tired. I mean, we were both a few sheets to the wind. I mean, definitely, because we had had a lot of beer. But like I said, we were both sampling a lot of beer. Like, neither one of us had like a full beer. Like, it was all like, here's a small glass of this, here's a small glass of this. So it wasn't like we had each had like 10 beers or some shit. So it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I literally got up at like 6 a.m, packed my car in Virginia, drove to New York, dropped off Danielle, sped over to my sister's house out in Harpersville, which, by the way, is like 45 minutes from where Danielle lives. And then from there, I hung out for a couple hours with her and my dad and chilled. And then I drove to your place, and then I started drinking beers. I don't even know if I ate dinner. I don't remember. Oh, I did eat pizza, though, at your place. Nurchie's and pizza you made, which I, in the morning, then ended up puking up next to the dumpster. So, yeah.
That's right. You were so excited to heat up that Nurch.
Yeah, it all came out, so.
And you just gave it all to the dumpster. Gave it all to the
Wouldn't be
Hopester.
The first time.
The Hopester is probably picking chunks out of it.
I mean, secretly, I think that Patrick Sherwood wants the Hopester to come back because he wants to get rid of him because he's been secretly living up there with him. For sure. I mean, the Hopester would probably sit underneath me with like a bowl, and he would hold it so I could puke into it all the old Nurchies chunks, and he would actually eat them after I puked them out. Dude, it's still Nurchies. There's still pieces of pepperoni left on that shit, so you're gonna get some kind of nutrition out of it.
Man, some of the responses we got to most overrated movie or most disappointing movie of the year. First of all, some people really missed the brief on this. I almost want to exclude them from the poll thingy to win stickers, just because it's like, no, you were not this excited for fucking
Boss Baby.
Well,
sorry, Scott.
Somebody put
Scott.
Boss Baby in here. I think
Scott did. Scott LeVar, yeah, he put it in there.
Scott. Well, yeah. Somebody did mention Despicable Me 3, and I was like, you were really looking forward to that.
I guess some people they like the kids movies. I mean, hey, if they're
somebody said fucking Geostorm, and I was like, really?
Dude, that had to be a joke. None of us saw that. I didn't see it. You didn't see it. Lois House.
No, God, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have gone near that movie. Fuck, that movie looked
But
stupid.
dude, you love it. You love your disaster porn, though. You love 2012. You would love. I thought you'd love to watch it.
Fucking hate you.
You see the CGI in that trailer? It looked fucking mind blowing. It looked amazing. It should be.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's not nominated for anything yet.
That's what it was. Mind blowing. That's what it was. Jesus, what the hell's wrong with you?
I don't know. I do a podcast with you every week.
Well, there's your answer, folks.
I'm not mentally stable. Oh, God. I'm still got bronchitis.
Keep talking. You'll wear out your voice enough. You might get as gristly sounding as Eckhart. You might be able to get your voice down to that level of grit.
I don't know. I don't think I could ever get that low. Man, he just sounds like... He sounds like he chews on and smokes a whole pack of cigarettes per hour at the same time. Ugh. I can't even do it. And I used to do death metal vocals too, so I don't know how that's even possible. Ladies and gentlemen, so that we didn't do an opening, but this is just the show this week.
Oh, is that it? We're just going in cold. That's it. That's all we're doing.
So this is it. Yeah, we're talking already. So
let me count one in here. Let's do it proper. Let's do it right. Come on now. Don't try to cheat the people out of.
We're in 2018. This is the show you're getting from now on. Tell your mom and dad to listen to us.
We've been doing all this stuff. We're this far into the first segment, and we haven't even said who we are or what the hell. People are just listening to this, and they're like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Isn't this a movie show? Don't these people talk about movies? Sort of is the answer to that question. We are the Epic Film Guys. I am Nick.
And I'm Justin. And yeah, we've been blabbing it on, and it's 2018, people. Get with the times. But don't really, though, because you might get sucked into that void and think
don't get with the times. Don't just be offended about everything. That's no way to live. That's no way to live. But just
I'll be honest, if they're listening to us, dude, they'll probably be offended and never listen again. So we can't really. That's the warning here. That well, this is the Epic Film Guys podcast. I mean,
wait till you hear what I have to say about some of my disappointments of the year when we get there later in the year. Justin, tonight we're talking best movies of 2017 and our most disappointing movies of 2017. Not a list in terms of the most disappointing. We're just going to rank some off. But the top 10 best films of the year, at least in terms of what we've been able to see. Now, my list, sadly, this is what I haven't seen yet, Justin, for this year, for the kind of awards season slate, is Shape of Water. A huge one that I know is missing. Greatest Showman, I haven't gotten the chance to see yet. The Post with Streep and Hanks. All the Money in the World, that Ridley Scott flick. Molly's Game with Jessica Chastain, Aaron Sorkin. Phantom Thread, Daniel Day-Lewis's last time acting, so he says. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see. And then Call Me by Your Name, that flick with what the hell's Armie Hammer? You know,
that's correct. Yeah.
So
and a bunch of those I haven't seen either. So.
All missing from my list. So unfortunately, yeah, I know like Shape of Water is making a lot of people's best of the year list, but unfortunately I live in the shittiest market of all fucking time. So yeah, I have not seen it. I probably won't get to see it until maybe once the Oscar nominations are announced and it gets nominated for an Oscar, I might be able to catch it in the theater then. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, before we get out of the first segment here, there's a time-honored tradition here at the Epic Film Guys podcast. We're in 2018, by the way. Happy fucking New Year, man. Happy New Year.
Dude.
We're in 2018, and it's great to be here. We hope 2018 is a great year for film. For all of our listeners, we hope it's a great year for all of you. And for the Epic Film Guys podcast, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight that we're going to be doing on the show. A lot of stuff to announce that we're going to be doing on the show. Some people may have already seen something over on social media that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But Justin, there's a time-honored tradition. Over 2 years ago, according to my Epic Film History clips, Justin, I've got to know, what are you drinking?
What a dick.
Oh, that's not the right sound drop. Here we go,
baby. You pushed
baby.
the wrong button.
I might have done that on purpose just because I wanted to hear You Are My Rose.
I'm back. Puke and rally. Woo! Give me a beer.
Well, Nick.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What's up, my Libyan friend?
Wayne, keep quiet. You bring him on the show once and then he'll never shut up. God damn it.
He'll never go away. He'll always be here forever and ever and ever. You have something good, man. I can tell you have something you want to talk about. Tell me what you got.
Well, I haven't even opened it yet. So we're going to open it and take the first sip here live on the show. This is the last of my Christmas beers left behind by Mr. Justin Esquivel. Wait, that's a guy that's on the show. Ooh. This is Aslan's Master of Oranges. It's a double IPA, so it says.
Just finished mine earlier.
And Justin said that this thing was like very orangey and right up front. Yeah, definitely got some good citrus aroma in the nose of it. So we're going to go ahead and try this bad boy out right now. Here we go. Smooth, a lot smoother than I thought it was going to be, because when you described it to me, you described it as very citrusy, and I expected it to have more of a kind of citrusy bite than it does. It's actually very mild, very kind of easy drinking. Nice. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, dude.
It's pretty damn good. This is the last of my beers because good old P-Well left me a 4-pack as well. I got to have another one of those Pom Pom Milk Stouts, which is fantastic. That's from Trillium Brewing. So thank you, P-Well, for leaving me all that great beer and the last beer that I've got from you. And then I've got 5 gallons or so of tropical IPA to make my way through. Now, I did have my quote-unquote bottom of the bucket growler, which was just a half of a half growler that had too much carbonating sugar in it, too much priming sugar. So it was over-carbonated, but I tried it. And Justin, it tastes like most of the other beers that I've made. It brings in this weird, sweet, malty, biscuity flavor toward the back end of it.
Oh, not the biscuit again. It's not the Smucker's out. No,
it's not that. It's not that bad, but it's just
okay. I was worried there for a minute.
You've had a couple of my beers, and of course, Justin was supposed to take home a whole 6-pack of this beer and would be able to drink it even tonight on the show. But when he was here last week, and we had that recording that we did where we were completely coherent and sober the entire time, no matter what you guys listened to last week.
Of course we were. That's correct. I was totally sober.
I don't know what the hell people are talking about. I keep getting messages being like, "How many beers did you guys have?" And it's like, "What? We didn't have any. What are you talking about?" Anyway, 0. Justin was supposed to take a 6-pack home with him, but he rushed out of here so early in the morning, he forgot to take it with him. So it's going to sit here and it's going to age, waiting for Justin, waiting for me to see him again, and then I will have to impart it. But yeah, I don't know. And like I said, this was over-carbonated, and it was the bottom of the barrel. Okay, so I've got a ton of regular growlers of it to try. So we're going to try those, and we're going to kind of see, where it lands at that point. You know what I mean? We're going to see if it's any better, but it just, like a lot of the other beers that I've made where it just doesn't have the hop profile that I want. It does have a good tropical hop aroma, which is what I want. I used a lot of Waimea hops to get that, but man, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Like, I can follow recipes to the fucking letter. And I get beers that they all taste the fucking same to me. And I don't know why that is. They're different recipes from different places, from different people. So I think I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I can't wait to taste this Belgian that's going to come out. I've still got another 5 weeks before I can bottle it, and then probably another 6 or 7 weeks before I can taste it. So at any rate, that's me. I've rambled on long enough about booze, Justin. I got to know, what are you pumping into your poop hole this evening?
In a few
and
minutes, bitch.
Yeah. That was like something that just happened.
Nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Nothing happened.
Did I just dream that?
I think you did.
Wow. Totally insane, dude. So, yeah. It's a very special episode on the Epic Film
This is a special fucking episode. We've been recording for like almost 2 hours now, and I feel like we've got nothing done.
Nothing done. And it's our first episode of the year.
We've still got to get to our entire best of 2017.
Well,
the whole fucking thing.
We'll jump right through it. It won't be.
Well, we do have to. We can't. Even though a lot of these films that I'm going to talk about, whether they're on my list or not, are films that I've just seen for the first time. But I'm not going to spend forever talking about any of them, really. I might do some little written review blurbs or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, Justin,
either way,
before we were so rudely interrupted
something.
by whatever happened,
something.
that mysterious thing that happened, whatever it was, I think Loy Sauce showed up. That son of a bitch.
I think Loy Sauce was just mad that you keep playing that silly thing on the soundboard about him sucking the hot dog.
I sucked it.
And he came by and he said, you know what? I'm not even on the best of 2017 episode, so I'm going to go pull the fire alarm and keep pulling it to prevent this episode from being of high quality.
Fucking Loy Sauce, man. I knew it.
Because of the simple fact, Nick, that I think 2017 was one of the better years out of the first few.
I would agree.
Maybe even, Nick, the best year since the Epic Film Guys have been in existence. The beer that I'm drinking is known as, by most people, one of the best double IPAs on the planet.
Get out of town.
Let alone just the East Coast. It is the Alchemist's Heady Topper.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, I gotta play
fridge.
it now. Fuck off, Justin.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Well, I did bring one up to share with you a few weeks ago when I was there.
It is that good. Oh,
it is. So that's what I'm drinking. It's 8% alcohol by volume, and supposedly this baby's
that's how you
100
bring in the new year, man.
Yeah, dude. So I'm drinking that. The Alchemist's Heady Topper. My first time drinking it on the podcast, and I don't get it very often. It's very rare. But when I do, I cherish it. And it's a very special occasion. Best of 2017. I want to give you guys the best show we could possibly give you. Fire alarms and all. Hallucinations. Dream
all
sequences. Whatever.
Shit.
Yeah, all the shit that's happening. So that's what I'm drinking. I'm putting it down like a champ. And we got a whole lot of show left for you guys.
We've got so much stuff left. And we're going to kind of buzz through some of this stuff pretty quickly. But before we even get into Best of 2017, Justin, there's something else that we got to wrap up. We just had a special month on the Epic Film Guys podcast, all month of December, the whole month.
Broncember.
It was Broncember, baby. We celebrated the legend, Charles Bronson, all month long. And I personally got to close out my Broncember. I watched it through midnight on New Year's, so it creeped a little bit into 2018. I watched The Magnificent Seven, the good version, not the shitty Anton Fuqua piece of shit that came out. Yeah, man. What was that, last year?
It was last year, that's right.
Bunch of garbage. Well, I think I rated it like a 5.
2 years ago.
Whatever.
2 years ago.
2 years now. I think I rated it like a 5 or something like that. But fuck that movie. This was a much, much, much better movie. Of course, including the Bronson, of course, Steve McQueen, Yul Brynner. You know, obviously an adaptation of Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. But yeah, that was how I wrapped up my Broncember. Justin, what did you do to close out Bronze? Wait, why am I saying it?
Broncember.
Yeah, why are you saying
Yeah.
There you go. What I did was, even though I've been under the weather, I've been kind of sick as a dog. Not a good dog, but a piece of shit dog, like a homeless dog. Kind of like the Hopster's dog, if he had one. Doggy. He may have one. I don't really know. But no, I watched Death Wish 4. I watched Death Wish 4, and I had Loy Sauce over here, and I made him watch the Canon Films last film that they did officially with Bronson, Assassination, in which he plays a Secret Service member who protects the First Lady. The First Lady is played by his own real-life wife, Jill Ireland, in her most stale and horrid performance, but unfortunately, she did die only a couple of years after that. That was one of her last performances as an actress, and I do admire her quite a bit throughout all of the films that she's in with Bronson in his career, namely Hard Times, which is one that you didn't get a chance to see, and The Mechanic, another one you didn't get a chance to see. But
there's so much left out there on the table in terms of Bronson stuff. So I'm still going to dabble. If I have some time. I still have Death Wish 4 and 5 to get to. I do have The Mechanic somewhere. And I'll tell you, I only got it because it has Jan Michael Vincent in it, and I wanted to just get the whole Rick and Morty thing where they were talking about Jan Michael Vincent in it. And
I love him in that movie.
We need a goddamn so Jan Michael Vincent over here.
But, Death Wish 4 has one of my favorite lines of all time, which should go on the soundboard at some point, but who the fuck are you? Death. And of course, Loisos did continue to tell me all throughout Assassination how stupid it was. So he did complain up and down about that film, even though Charles Bronson rides a motorcycle with a machine gun on it, and he aims and doesn't really kill bad guys in that part. But either way, Broncember was a success. I want to thank each and every one of you guys out there, knowing how big of a deal Bronson is to me. I'm a huge fan. He's definitely my favorite action star of all time. And most of all, I want to thank you, Nick, on the show publicly, because you actually dived into a challenge head first this time and actually indulged hardcore.
This was my baby. This was my baby. I gave this to Justin as a gift for the month of December, because I know he's been jonesing for that weekly Charles Bronson clip that he ruined by sending me this.
Hey, buddy, you gonna eat that sausage?
But it's such a great clip, and I gave it to you
It
with
is
such
such
irony.
a great clip. It's but yeah, it was absolutely my pleasure. Like I said, I got to experience a whole bunch of great movies. I mean, Mr. Majestic was probably the only real meh film that I saw out of the bunch. I even enjoyed Death Wish 2 somewhat. Wasn't nearly as good as the first one. It was kind of just the first one again. They really didn't do a whole lot new with it. And then Death Wish 3, was just literal fucking insanity. And I loved every minute of it.
You know what I loved? I loved being at your place, half in the bag. I'll admit that I probably was.
And then we put it on.
and then hearing your wife's comments, and she was like, and I thought the room was bad. And I was like, wow. Wow. But no, it is one of my favorites. And one of my favorite moments of last year was seeing Death Wish 3 on the big screen at Alamo Drafthouse for a Secret Society Filmation screening. And when I got film historian and Bronson expert Paul Talbot to do the intro video for it, it was such a huge success and such a great time. So great memory for me. And man, Bronson ruled in 2017. So I'm a happy guy. Happy guy, but
we got to say goodbye
year,
to Broncember, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And but before we do, Justin, why don't we give away some stickers? We're going to give away some stickers to one of the participants. We only had 5 besides me, you, and Loisos. Not too many people participated in Broncember, because you know what? Not too many people can stomach the greatness that is Bronson, I guess. I don't know.
That's correct.
I don't know.
That's correct, man.
But we're going to go.
They're scared.
To our favorite website of all time, randompicker.com.
Man, this
hate
is going
to
take even longer. You love this thing. You have like a love affair with it. You're going to fight with it.
This is what I should have been doing. Like while the fire alarm was
it.
going off and shit, this is what I should have been doing, is like drawing winners for prizes and shit. But instead I sat here rambling into the microphone while Justin was running around the building trying to get the fire alarm off. All right, and Justin, we had 5 people that took part in
Broncember.
And we love you guys so much. Thank you very much for taking part in the challenge. Paul Combs, Corey Wade, the Hopester's best friend, Patrick Sherwood, Destruction in Human Form, Jared Taylor, and you just mentioned him, Paul Talbot. And we're going to go ahead and give away 3 Epic Film Guys stickers to one lucky winner, not 3, random picker, you fucking piece of shit. So let's go ahead and throw another drum roll right in here. Let's click here, those results, baby. Let's see who we got. Corey Wade, congratulations. You are the winner of 3 Epic Film Guys stickers. I will get those out in the mail to you very soon and be in touch for your contact info. That's not all we're giving away tonight, though, Justin. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. Why don't we go ahead?
More stuff on the show.
Yeah, we got to give away more stuff. We got so much different stuff to get to tonight. So let's go ahead and run into EFG history. Okay. Then we're going to come back, and it's time we've got to get into these best of 2017 lists. And then at the end of the show, I've got so much more stuff to announce. We've got more giveaways. Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it. At the end, though,
is that the part where I get to fall asleep?
That is when you get to fall asleep.
I'm listening and paying attention, but I'm not really paying attention?
Exactly.
Okay. Just making sure.
That's why I just get to hit the soundboard button a lot and just ramble on. You know how it is.
Okay. Of course. And we love you guys, so we'll be right back with our best of 2017.
This week in Epic Film History. My number 3 is a film that you already mentioned. I believe it was your number 10. It is Ridley Scott's The Martian. I fucking loved this movie when I saw it. I was, quite frankly, blown away by it.
My number 3 is a movie that I ranted and raved about. And I saw it a handful of times in the theater. I loved the hell out of this movie. It's Colin Trevorrow's Jurassic World. because this movie for me was an experience.
My number 2, and I know this film's on your list, probably your number... I don't know. I'm going to say it's your number 1, not your number 2, because I know what's coming for number 2, and I'm going to hate you for it. But it is George Miller's Mad Max Fury Road.
You know it's coming.
Jesus Christ.
You shouldn't be surprised.
I'm not surprised. I just hate you for it.
You shouldn't hate me for it, because as we talked about, our lists are about experience. It's about enjoyment at the theater. And
about
how much
sucking Justin's nostalgia.
About how much you... It has nothing to do with that. I don't care. A lot of what I love about films are about things that I love and I care about. And I'm not... Hey, whatever. You can say what you want about it. The general public's the same way. I don't give a shit. And I don't care what Nick has to say about it either. He can be as bitter as he wants to be about it. Star Wars The Force Awakens.
I'm not bitter. I gave it a 6 out of 10. That's not a negative rating.
6 out of 10 is garbage. 6 out of 10 is enough.
Well, so was the script, so
the script was great. The script just wasn't up to your expectations. The script itself was good. It just wasn't what you wanted.
All right. Well, we are right on to my number 1 film. It is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. This was directed by Alfonso Gomez-Lejon, and it stars Thomas Mann, R.J. Seiler, Olivia Cook, Nick Offerman, Molly Shannon, and John Bernthal. Essentially, the title tells the entire story of the film. It's about a kid and his friend Earl, and he meets a girl named Rachel who has cancer, and he becomes friends with her, and they make these little weird, cheesy kind of mock-up movies. It's a simple but poignant film. It's absolutely beautiful. It's about love, about loss, about friendship, and just about the things that everybody goes through at some point in their life. And I really like these kinds of humanizing films that really just connect to your inner humanity at, the deepest level. That's why this film is absolutely the best of the year for me. And that's it. That's my best of 2015.
My number 1, you already covered it. Coming from a fan of the Mad Max series,
which I was not.
Mad Max Fury Road, like the other films on my list, hit me in all the right spots. And even more so, because this is the kind of film that we do not see in this day and age. The practical effects and practical stunts and the way this film was shot, beautiful, and could not have been done by anyone other than George Miller. And Junkie XL, by the way, gave a fantastic score here, very reminiscent of Hans Zimmer. Everything all around with this film was just perfect. I was blown the fuck away. I literally could not believe how good this film was.
We're back! The show still has some semblance of a fucking structure, so I don't even know. This has been like one of the craziest recordings we've ever done. And
rightly so, though.
We're so far from the end.
It's necessary, though. It has to be this way. It's the first episode of the year.
It's
getting us back on track. It's kind of waking us up a little bit.
It's setting the standard. This is what the Epic Film Guys is going to be like all year long now. It's just going to be fire alarms going off, all sorts of fucking random shit happening.
Me coughing
random
like I've
picker.
been smoking a pack of cigarettes every hour. Random picker. Oh, yeah. You and your love affair of random picker. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I think we talked about this a little bit before we finally started recording the show tonight, but this was the hardest year. This was the hardest list to put together.
By far, dude.
You could take probably my bottom 5 and interchange half of my honorable mentions in on a whim, depending on how I'm feeling on the day. Because that's how good some of these honorable mentions are, and it breaks my heart to leave them off, But at the end, like, I tried to, like, little nitpicks here and there, like, why does this deserve a spot? Why does this deserve a spot? So, yeah, I can't wait to talk about this list. Let's jump right into it, Justin. I'm going to start with you. I want to kick it over to you first. Why don't you let us know what your number 10 for 2017 was?
Well, you know what, Nick? I have a feeling that, as always is customary on the show, you like to give me shit about my placement of certain films, which I assume will probably be higher on your list. But this film was something that it didn't blow me away, per se. We did talk about it on the show. We did do a small review of this film. But I felt like it was a film that definitely resonated with me over time and that I thought about wanting to see again. And it's a milestone, I feel like, for the year, simply because of the fact of who directed it, who wrote it, and it was just so good. Yes, I'm talking about Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird. I had to make this movie on my list. And like we just
to
talked
borrow a
about
phrase
ago,
from our good friends down in Perth, no.
it's the fact is
Number
there was
10.
too many movies on my list. Believe me, oh my god, this was a very hard decision. This list, Nick, very hard decision. This is a coming of age.
God damn
teen
it.
drama / comedy, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. The reason why I put this on my list, other than the fact that it was beautifully directed, beautifully written, beautifully acted by Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf and everyone involved. Lucas Hedges, man, I can't wait to see what you do in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Seriously. But in reality, I enjoyed it. It was charming. I walked out with a smile on my face and I laughed throughout it. And it took me back to my years of being in high school. This film took place, Nick, during the same 2 years that I graduated high school, and they did the period perfectly. So I related in every way to Lady Bird. That's why it had to make my top 10 of the year list when there's like literally so many movies that could have been on this list. I love you, Lady Bird. That's why you're still on my list, even at number 10.
I sucked a dick last night.
Now, why did you have to add that last part? That wasn't necessary.
I did not. I swear to God, I told you it was 2018. I want that stricken from the record. But Nick, all right, let's move on to you, buddy.
I'm
We have
willing-
a long list to go here.
I'm willing to
Let's
bet
see.
you that I'm going to get shit for my placement of this film at number
Let's see.
10 on my list, because
Let's
I
do it.
know it's going to be higher on your list because I know you. I just know you. Number 10 is Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Oh,
But it made the list. It made the
wow.
list. It actually made my list. I had to put it in here because this for me was finally Star Wars done right. As much as I really enjoyed Rogue One, this was the film I feel like Star Wars needed. And I just put a little thing in here, Justin. It's far from perfect, but Rian Johnson firmly handed the fate of the franchise over to the new cast. You know, I love that he took everything in an intriguing direction, and I think these fans that are really, really upset about Luke abandoning everything, I think they're missing the point. I think they got to look at why. Why would this character do this? You know, and we talked about it so much with Paul and Wayne on the show. Thank you guys for being here for that. It was amazing. The middle
Yeah,
act
thanks, guys.
was dreadful, and the Get the Codebreaker subplot was, but there was so much good in this film. Goddamn, the shoulder brush, man. Psh, right there, number 10, Star Wars The Last Jedi. I know it's
Awesome
coming
pick.
up on your list. I know it's higher up, but I had to put it in here somewhere. So there it is.
I love the insinuation that you think you know what my list is, but you don't. So we'll see.
If this does not make,
what
I would
comes
be shocked if that was not on your list higher up. Shocked.
We'll see. My number 9, Nick, is a movie that I just actually recently revisited for the first time since I saw an early screening of it early in the summer. It's a film that you loved when you first saw it, and it was your number 1 of the year at that point. And my daughter and my wife had not seen it, and I got it on Ultra 4K Blu-ray. You know, that thing that me and Paul from the Countdown talk about so much. You can have the digital code if you want. But it is Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. There's no way that I could get through my list without putting this on there.
9?
I love this movie.
What the fuck
so
is up
much.
at the top of your list?
Oh, well, you'll see when we get down to the nitty gritty.
Wow.
Hey, man.
Okay.
It's fun.
Wow.
The use of music is
Holy
perfect.
shit.
The performances are spot on. Even that one asshole that did a lot of bad things these year is still really good in it.
All right, don't
Bully
talk
or
about
not.
yourself like that. I don't think you're an asshole, okay?
You know, Edgar Wright is literally one of the best filmmakers in the business right now.
He is.
Everyone knows it.
100%.
And he crafted a movie that was both modern and vintage and retro at the same time. It felt like, obviously, a couple of different movies from the 70s, The Driver, among others, but the way he melded the modern with the old school music, and I love the character of Baby. Ansel Elgort, who was also a frontrunner to play Han
Career-making
Solo.
performance. Career-making
he's
performance.
Great in the film. Literally fantastic performance from everyone throughout. And John Hamm, dude, you know I love me some Don Draper. So number 9 for me, Edgar Wright's Baby Driver.
All right. Well, we'll kick over to me for number 10. This is actually one of the films that I got the opportunity to binge over the weekend. I watched 5 different films, and, you know, some of them might be in my list. Some of them might be in honorable mentions. Some of them might be in the most disappointing side. But this what a beautiful little film this was. I was so happy I got the chance to watch this. This is the Florida Project, and I know you actually just got a chance to see this film tonight. I'm interested to see if this makes your list. Yeah, literally just before we recorded the show.
Like literally 5 minutes before we started recording. Yeah. Before the alarms and the beers
an exceptional
and
performance.
Craziness.
An exceptional performance by Willem Dafoe in this film. But also, you've got a great performance. An Instagram star. She's just popular on Instagram because of her tattoos and stuff. Bria Vinaishi, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Great performance as the mother in this film. And the little girl, Justin, Brooklyn Prince, just an absolute treat to watch. But you and I have talked about this when we review a number of other films on the show. Real. When something feels real, and it feels like, and he definitely did this for a few shots. You can tell that it was definitely shot without authorization. The final shot in the film, I've already read.
Yeah, dude, that whole thing,
was without authorization.
Dude, you know what's funny? You mentioned that. I have to just
$2 million.
Cut you off for a second there. I have to. The last shot of this movie, I turned to Danielle and I said, "They shot that guerrilla style. There's no way they got permits for that."
Nope, definitely not. This was a $2 million budget to make this thing, and there's a lot of scenes where the camera is staged where it was definitely just shot out in public. They didn't get permission or anything. They just filmed it around whatever was going on, but it lends itself to the authenticity of this film. So real. It really just feels like Sean Baker just dropped a camera right down into these people's lives and just watched. That's all it feels like.
How great was Willem Dafoe, though?
Willem Dafoe is amazing in this film.
I really wish we had a chance to see this earlier in the year, man. And we actually had our chance to really delve in deep into it, because there's a lot of stuff in that movie that really hit home with me. A lot of stuff I can totally relate to.
There really is. Great film. I mean, it's a great, look at, people that necessarily, I like to think that I have a tough life, but man, I can't even compare to, the tough life that this, young mother and her daughter must have. So I had to put it on this list. It was actually a last minute swap in. I took another film that you would expect to be on my list out just to put it in here because I had to have it on my top 10 of the year. I loved this film so much, The Florida Project. And we're back over to you for your number 8.
Well, guess what? Let's mention a film that I know that you loved, that I know that I loved, and it's going to make my number 8. And why don't you give me some shit right now? Because what is it, my number 8? Other than War for the Planet of the Apes.
Ooh.
And it had to make my list. I was charmed by it. I cried during it.
Circus has an amazing performance once again.
Circus performance. The beautiful look of the film. Everything about it was perfect for me. And it amped me up to see what Reeves can do with Batman, of course. It makes me even more excited for that. But, everything that I was hoping for with Apes stayed in this. You could tell that the studio let him do what he wanted. And they didn't make it a generic blockbuster in the sense that it had to be total war. And a lot of people were pissed about that because the film was called War for the Planet of the Apes, but they didn't understand that can kind of be something that's within ourselves.
A philosophical
literal.
War, not a
exactly.
Literal war, yeah.
So I loved it. It had to be on my list. So for my number 8, War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yep. Spoiler alert, not on my list.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's how hard this list was to put together because I loved that movie. I thought that movie was great. Not as good as Dawn. Definitely not as good as Dawn. But yeah, it was one of those films where I was like, unfortunately, I had to get busted into honorable mentions because there was so much other good stuff to talk about in the year. That's just how great this year has been, Justin. So I want to move right on to my number 8. And you might think that I have this a little bit low. I'm pretty sure this is going to pop up somewhere in your list a little bit later on. Number 8 is a film, one of few films from earlier in the year that's going to appear on my list. It's James Mangold's Logan.
Oh, dude, dude, that's so criminally low. But I get it though.
You've got Hugh Jackman in rare form. Daphne Keane, amazing in this film. Patrick Stewart showing up as Professor X one last time. The depth of character in this film, and then the amazing R-rated, just explosive action sequences in this film. It's great. It's a great film. Fantastic superhero film. And, now that the Disney Fox merger's gone through, are we going to get more R-rated films like this? That are superhero films. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But we've already got into that whole thing before, so we're not going to rehash it now. But yeah, I had to put it in my list somewhere. It was one of those films where I could easily have swapped Logan out with a number of different. You could just as easily put War for the Planet of the Apes here for me. Like, that's how hard the bottom of this list versus honorable mentions is. Any of them could be swapped out. But that's it. That's my number 8, Logan.
All right, so moving on to my number 7 then. And this is a movie that I saw later in the year and was not on my radar at all. And I give it up to old Loy Sauce for telling me over and over again and reminding me as I'm sitting late at night, drinking beer, all the films that he saw when he got his orientation for the creative manager position at Alamo in Austin when he went down there and saw all these great movies. This is one that it definitely resonated with me, and the performances above anything else were my favorite of the year. Yes, Nick, get on my shit for having it as low as it is. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I had to put this film
on my list.
I loved it. Oh my God. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you kidding me?
Hey, you got to wait and see what I've got coming up, man. You got to wait and see what I've got coming up, man.
If I was sitting next to you, I would probably grab you by the face and smack you. I can't believe this is not on your list.
It's in my honorable mentions. Honorable mentions,
shock.
man.
Big shock for me. This film is a black comedy of sorts, and you cannot ever underestimate Frances McDormand in any way.
What a powerhouse performance she had.
And then you add in Woody Harrelson in a small but pivotal role, and then you have Sam Rockwell literally giving, I would say, probably my favorite performances of his entire career. And it's about a mother who lost her daughter when, the police in town failed to find the suspect. She purchases 3 billboards and calls public attention to them by basically saying, what the fuck are you going to do? And it causes hijinks to ensue. And man, I just love
definitely ensue, baby.
All these characters are so well-rounded and so different and so human. And I loved everything about it, especially Frances in the film. So
it's a great movie. It really is.
It took me by storm because I did not expect it. I had seen the trailer maybe once. We didn't talk about it on the podcast at all. So when I watched it, I sat down, I was like, yeah, whatever. And it blew me away. Number 7, 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. And for those that are interested, yes, there are 3 billboards in the film, and you see them quite a few times. So, yep, there they are. So for you, Nick, at your number 7, man.
My number 7, another film that I just checked out this weekend, and I actually was not expecting to love this film nearly as much as I did. It's I, Tonya, Justin. What a great movie. Now, when you first get into this, it has this mockumentary style. They filmed these contemporary interviews with Tonya Harding and her husband and a couple other people, and then they had the actors reenact them. And they break the fourth wall.
VHS interviews.
Yeah, they break the fourth wall all the time. And it's all this different stuff. It's the unreliable narrator, which is one of my favorite tropes in literature. It's on steroids in this film because you're never quite sure what's real and what's embellished and what's whatever, because this is them basically telling it. But dude, Margot Robbie and Allison Janney both in this film fucking crush it out of the park. Allison Janney in particular is fantastic. I like with Laurie Metcalf and Lady Bird and Allison Janney in this film, it's going to be a tight race, I feel like, for the best supporting actress Oscar this year.
Yeah, definitely. She's fantastic in it. She never lets up the entire movie. I'm so glad you enjoyed it, man. That was one that
this movie.
We'll
and I loved it a lot more
not,
than I thought I was going to. The skating sequences in this film are amazingly well shot as well.
And I have to give you this much, though, while we're talking about it. And we're not going to go in depth on all these movies, but we haven't had a chance to talk about this because you haven't seen it. I saw it a few weeks ago at an early screening.
Yep.
I was really worried about the skating sequences because of the CGI'd faces.
Yep.
On a lot of the actual skaters. But when you saw it in theater at Alamo in 4K projection, it worked and it looked good and they did it seamlessly. And
it looked great when I watched it as well.
To great effect. So I love Margot in this. If anything, even if she doesn't get any awards for this, which she's still on the fence for me as if she's my front runner for that award or not. We'll see with the Golden Globes. Definitely going to get it for that.
I think it's going to be one of those political things. We'll see how the Lady Bird situation plays out with Metcalf, because I think she's definitely also a heavy favorite in that category. So it's possible that Janney could steal this.
With Robbie, though, I think that she is a great up-and-comer. She's proved over the last couple performances that, give her shit about Harley Quinn if you want to. I still loved her in that role. In this, she literally embodied how I envisioned Tanya Harding in my head, even though no matter how ugly you try to make her, you're never going to make her look as ugly as Tanya Harding. Still, she's so great in this fucking role. She's so great.
But
She's
yeah,
so
that's
perfect.
it. That's my number 7. Tanya. Like I said, I loved it way more than I expected to. So over to you for your number 6.
Oh, man. Okay, so this is a movie that I totally skipped in theaters. I thought nothing of it. I saw the posters, thought they looked bad, looked at the lead actor in it and said, I don't like him. He's boring. There's no way he could play a role anything better than the lame nuclear physicist that he played in Arrival. It is... It's Taylor Sheridan's Wind River. And man, I fucking loved this movie. I love Westerns. And I love everything Sheridan's been doing the past couple of years. And I did not expect this movie to touch me the way that it did. Mm-hmm. And this whole story is about thousands of actual stories that are very much like it. It's not based on one individual story, but involving sexual assault of Native American women on reservations. So Sheridan actually took that as initiative to write this story. And what we have, Nick, is the best physical acting performance of Jeremy Renner of all fucking time. Oh my God, I actually like this guy so much in this movie. I can't believe it. I thought in Arrival, I was like, okay, I can stomach him. He's fine, even though it's not believable. But in this, I literally turned to Loisos and I said, I believe in him as an actor. I think he has, and I loved him in The Town. Don't get me wrong. I never said he was like garbage or anything, but in this movie, like I really loved him. The cinematography is God. The cinematography in this film is amazing. Oh my God. I like Elizabeth Olsen and I love a little murder mystery. It doesn't take much to get me invested. I liked what they did with this. It was different than all the other movies I had seen this year. And the fact that this is a real thing that happens in their society for Native Americans, that there's not a missing persons program for women of the Native American culture, really hit home with me because I do have that as part of my culture as well. And I thought the performances were fantastic. And I love these modern Westerns. People say the Westerns are dead. And I see that with Sicario and a lot of these other movies that are coming out. Yes, modern Westerns are back in the Western form, like Bone Tomahawk, like The Hateful Eight, but then like Wind River and Sicario 2 is just coming out. Sheridan, and I can't wait to see it. I love that they're using the Western mentality, even in another film, Logan, and making these new modern films and making them great. So I had to put Wind River on my list. It blew me out of the water. I couldn't believe how much I love this movie. Yeah. So there it is at my number 6.
I can't disagree about Renner. He definitely gave an amazing performance in that film.
Tell me, seriously, did it not like go, wow, is that really Jeremy Renner? Like I could not even believe. I was like, wait, I really like him. And it's like, I couldn't believe that he was really doing that great of a job. So loved him.
Yeah. And over on to my number 6, Justin, a film that I think when I first watched it and we reviewed it on the show, I don't think that you expected me to react to it quite the way that I did. But I absolutely loved it. And I know it's coming up on your list because I know you. It is It, baby.
Oh my God.
Yep.
It actually made your
Had
list.
to make
Are you
my
fucking
list
serious,
of the top 10 of the year.
No way.
I mean, not just for Bill
Holy shit.
Skarsgård's incredible performance as Pennywise. He's brilliant in the role. But even he is not as good as the cast of kids in this film and the camaraderie that they're able to kind of foment amongst this group of kids, starting with Jaden Lieberher as Bill. So fantastic. The atmosphere in this film that Andy Muschietti was able to create is just spectacular. God, everything about this movie, like I am not somebody who just loves a horror movie this much, and it affected me so profoundly when I watched it that, when I was going through this list, it was an easy inclusion. This was definitely not one I had to question whether it was going to be on my list or not. It was only a kind of question of where. And it's probably just lower on my list because it's a horror movie than anything else, but it does not take away from how incredible it is. I know it's coming up on your list. I know we'll get there for you, but my number 6 is It.
Okay, so we're moving on to the top 5.
That's
right, ladies and gentlemen.
Baby.
Top 5. So for me, it's a film that you had already mentioned earlier in the year, this probably was my number one of my list, but you know what? It has stepped down a few steps. It is Mangold's Logan.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackman is one of the best actors alive right now, working in Hollywood. And think about what he's gone through playing this character. He loves the character. We've already reviewed it on the show, but think about it for a minute. And then we get Logan. It surprised the shit out of me. He actually took like a pay cut in order for that Fox to allow it to be rated
Just
R.
to make sure it was R-rated, yep.
And they made a great character piece for Logan.
Excellent.
One that I cried during, I got excited during, I felt emotional during, and I felt emotionally attached to all the way through. And that's why it's my number 5. I loved this movie. It's in my collection, and it's one of my favorite comic book movies of all time, even though at its core, again, it's still not a comic book movie to me, even though it's based on a comic book character. Hugh Jackman, you murdered
This
it.
is when
This
comic book films are the
performance.
best, though, when they step outside of the comic book genre and they just become great
Exactly.
films.
And if you recall my little critic quote, you didn't agree with me at the time. You still may not, but at my point in time, and I still agree with this, it's the best comic book movie for me since The Dark Knight, because it did step out of that realm. It said, hey, why
Better
can't
than
we do
Justice
something
League?
different? Well, maybe, possible. Better than Spider-Man Homecoming?
I have not seen it, so I don't know.
I know you didn't. Better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Better than
Oh, it's
Thor
way
Ragnarok?
fucking better
Ooh.
than Guardians of the Shit pile
Ooh,
volume.
Are any of those movies going to make it on my list? Ooh, it's going to be really tough for you to think that any of them could, but you will see. So Logan is at my number 5. Still love the shit out of this movie. Love it to death. So on to you, Nick, for your number 5.
Well, a film that it's kind of cool that your number 5 is Logan, because my number 5 is a film that's almost exactly like it, like in tone, in theme. This is The Big Sick.
Wow. Okay.
Kumail
I'm actually
Nanjiani
really
with his
surprised this
claws
is
and shit out.
making up on your list.
This is
not
actually
one
what I
I've
wrote
seen
about
yet.
this when I wrote my little blurb for this. I said it's so blissfully heartwarming that it wraps you in a blanket of its awesomeness and snuggles you until you feel its warmth and strength of character.
Aw.
Kumail Nanjiani and Zoe Kazan are excellent in this film. Ray Romano and Holly Hunter are also incredible in this film. And it's just such a wonderful, such a heartwarming film. It's so amazing to watch this film. I almost wanted to bump it a spot or two higher, but I just couldn't justify bumping the ones that are above it down. But yeah, I loved this film. It was absolutely incredible. And yeah, my number 5, The Big Sick. If you haven't seen this movie, and I know a lot of people haven't, I didn't get a chance to check it out when it was in theaters, but if you haven't seen this movie, just please watch this movie. It is so fucking good. So fucking good.
Loisos raved and ranted about it for
As well he
weeks
should
and
have.
weeks and
As
weeks
well he
and
should
weeks
have.
and weeks. And then, of course, by the time I thought about going to see it at Alamo, it was gone. So I'm sorry, Loisos. And I'm sorry to you, Nick. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry. I'm from Canada now. I'm sorry.
Last night.
God damn it, Loy Sauce.
My number 4 is a movie you already mentioned, and I'm very happy it made your list. I'm actually shocked and surprised that it did, but it is Andy Muschietti's It. I loved this movie. You want a balloon, Georgie? Hey, Georgie, do you want a balloon? Popcorn. Pop, pop, pop. I love everything about this. It oozes 80s nostalgia, but it does it so well. Muschietti just grasps atmosphere perfectly. And everything that he did within the horror elements of this worked perfectly. Everyone else prior to this film coming out said that Tim Curry was their Pennywise. And I always loved Tim Curry's Pennywise. Loved him so much. But you know what, guys? Gonna be honest with you, Bill Skarsgård is my Pennywise. Brilliant performance. Loved the shit out of it. He did so much with his mannerisms, his eyes, his hands, his movements, and all the kids are brilliant and fantastic. Love the cinematography, and Benjamin Wallfish's score to this is one of my favorite scores of the year. I love this movie, and I love fucking horror, and this was just like a treat handed to me on a plate that I ate, and I indulged in it and savored it to the last bite. So Andy Muschietti's It Chapter 1. I can't wait for the second chapter. And yes, I am hoping for Jessica Chastain as Bev in the second chapter.
Please.
Make no mistake, it was a box office fucking juggernaut. It beat The Exorcist's numbers for the biggest opening for a horror film ever. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be doing big numbers with the second chapter. So super pumped about that. Horror is back in a big way. And my next film may just be real horror Hollywood movie. But until then, Nick, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is a film that you already mentioned, way too fucking low on your list, I might add. It is Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. I loved this fucking movie. This movie was so many kinds of fantastic. We already talked about a lot of the things we love from the music, the stunt driving. I don't know if you mentioned the stunt driving that was in this film when you talked about it, but man, the driving sequences in this film are incredible. That's why I love it so much, because the stunt work, the driving work in this film was incredible. And like I said, star-making performance out of Ansel Elgort. That's it. That's my number 4. Baby Driver. So over to Justin, number 3. We're getting down there. We're getting to the nitty gritty, baby. These are the best of the best. Best of the best coming up here.
And this is a movie that I had an experience with this. Tommy, you know that? I had an experience with this film.
Hi, doggy.
Because I sat down to watch this thinking I would see it early before everyone else. Like, I'm special. I'm that special epic film guy that's going to see everything before Nick does.
You piece of shit.
And then a quarter way through it, the lights turned on, and someone told me to, quote unquote, get out of the theater. And I felt like that statement could not be more ironic based on the film that I was watching. That's correct, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jordan Peele's Get Out, a horror thriller that nailed audiences early, super early in the year. And I couldn't believe how great this film was. This film had me on the edge of my seat. It had my mind like in a twist, constantly thinking about it for weeks on end. And it was a great social commentary on how African-American men are treated in this country. And Nick, you had a chance to see it earlier this weekend.
I did.
I'm not sure what you thought about it, but for me, all I know is I got a text. I think it was like late in the night, and all you said was in all caps, "Bro, this movie is seriously fucked up." That's what you said to me, dude. Amazing performance by Daniel Kaluuya.
Amazing performance, great performance.
Dude, Jordan Peele wrote and directed this fucking thing, and we all know him from Key and Peele. And man, this guy just has a sensibility for everything. He can do comedy, and there's some light moments that are funny in this. But overall,
well, you know, and you talked about atmosphere when you talked about it. Get Out has an even better atmosphere to it because he manages to keep it just a little bit tilted the whole time, so you always feel uneasy the entire time you're watching this film.
You feel uneasy, Nick? You do feel uneasy, but at the same time, you feel like you could be there and you could possibly be okay with the situation, which is why it's even more uneasy, because you're in situations like this once in a while.
But it's that way where you feel uneasy the entire time you're watching it. You feel like something's off kilter, and it kept me guessing the whole way through. It definitely kept me guessing the entire way through. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody that has not had a chance to see it. I know I got to see it very late in the process, but you have to see this movie if you have not seen this movie, because what he's able to do in terms of just the atmosphere that he creates, just the mood that he creates in this film. And of course, yes, it's definitely got all the underlying social tension and, you know, the racial theme and everything like that. It's all in there, but man, just the atmosphere of this film. And this film was also shot fucking beautifully shot film.
Oh yeah, it was. And the main thing is, Nick, is this film could have easily beat you over the head with its themes, and it doesn't, and shoved it in your mouth. It does not. It does it in such an easy way where I feel like a lot of modern audience members didn't even get it. They just said, "Oh, I watched a good horror thriller this weekend." They did not even really totally get and connect to all the little bits and pieces that are thrown at you throughout the film. I loved it. I still love it. And I feel like it's one of the best horror thriller films that has been made in the last 5 years. Jordan Peele, I can't wait to see what you do with The Twilight Zone. You fucking rule, dude. But on to you, Nick. I have to get to you for your number 3.
Well, one of us put Lady Bird in the correct place because that is my number 3 on this list. What a
you keep quiet.
fantastic film this was. You already talked about Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf. Amazing performances. Greta Gerwig being left out of the conversation for Best Director for the Golden Globes is criminal.
It's
Any way
fucking
you slice
criminal,
it,
dude. It's
I
bullshit.
don't care. She did an amazing job both writing and directing this film, and it's just, man, what a great movie this was. You already talked about it earlier, and we already reviewed it on the show, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But yeah, that is my number 3, Lady Bird.
Okay, so we're really on to my top 2 films
This
of
is
the
it,
year.
the best of the best. My top
All
2,
right.
Justin, my top 2, the only 2 films I gave perfect scores to this year.
Okay, well, you know what? This is a film that I saw, and it's literally probably 1 out of 3 movies that I went into where I did not piss during it. Anyone that knows me knows that I get up to piss during movies.
That is big.
And this is a long movie. This is actually probably the longest movie out of all these movies that we've talked about on this list tonight. It's a movie I was so invested in the world that was created. It just sucked me in. You know, you go to the movies to escape, to be taken away from real life. And this is a movie that did that. And it built upon a universe that was already previously created back in 1982. I'm talking about Denis Villeneuve's Blade Runner 2049. No, sorry, Tommy. You did not make this movie. You keep quiet, damn it. I love you, but no. This had to make my list because of the simple fact that I loved it in every single way. I loved the performances. I love the visual aesthetic. The score is my favorite score of the year. And it did something that actually rarely any other film never does. No other film does this, where a sequel comes out more than 30 years later, 35 years later, and actually builds upon, and in many ways actually does a better job at making a world and characters than its predecessor. I loved it so much. Love Ryan Gosling in the film. Harrison Ford back as Deckard was so great. It's actually a better performance than anything he's done in the past 10 years. It sucked me away, man. I couldn't believe it. I can't wait to watch this movie again. Me being my retro futuristic guy that I am, loving my synth wave and everything, of course that has something to do with my love for this movie. But the more I think about it, every single day I keep saying to myself, I can't wait to watch this movie again, because I only had the chance to see it once. So yes, Nick, you may be surprised. You may be shocked. I don't know. You don't seem to be saying anything, but Blade Runner 2049 is my number 2 favorite film of 2017.
All right. Well, to go from one film with breathtaking cinematography, which, man, let's give the smattering to Roger Deakins right now.
He's going to win the Oscar.
Yeah. We're going to throw it in there.
Here.
My number 2 is another film that's definitely going to be in that conversation for best cinematography as well, from Hoyt van Hoytma, Christopher Nolan's World War II epic. There's no other way to describe it. It's fucking Dunkirk, baby. I was blown the fuck away by how good this movie is. The cinematography, I cannot say enough how breathtaking this movie is, just to see, just to watch. And then the sound design, the score from Hans Zimmer, the way that he really focuses on the event, doesn't focus on any of the characters. They're really ancillary, and they're just there to really paint the picture of the Dunkirk evacuation, which was, one of the most harrowing events in modern history. It's goddamn fucking good. God damn fucking good. I loved this movie so much. Like I said, only one of 2 films I gave a perfect score to this year because it blew me away. I was already expecting greatness from Nolan, and man, did he not fucking disappoint. I can't wait to watch this movie again and again and again and again and again and again.
And I know that one of our listeners will be able to watch it in the next couple of days, thanks to an amazing digital code giveaway at the end of the show. So yeah, baby.
We should do that. You know what? We should do it right now. Before we get to number 1s, we should do it right now. Why don't we give it away right now? Just give it to him. Give it to him.
So I'll make this easy, and I'll make this quick, because I know so many of our listeners are so young and hip with the end styles and the end music. So I'll make a simple question. Which member of One Direction is in Dunkirk.
That's all you got to do. Over in the Hopesters Dumpster,
The
we're going to
Hopesters
post
Dumpster. That's
a
right.
reaction
Go
thread.
to our Facebook page.
Yep.
Our Facebook page, facebook.com/epicfilm. Guys, if it's your first time, head over to our official Facebook page. If you're not already a member of the Hopesters Dumpster, ask to join it and tell us in the official episode reaction post, okay, who is the member of One Direction? Yes, the famous pop English group that Simon Cowell created that is in Dunkirk. Say that name first, and you get a 4K digital code to one of the most beautiful films ever filmed.
Ooh, yeah. So there it is. That's my number 2. It's Dunkirk. Justin, it's time. It's time to get to the number 1s, baby. And I've got to throw it down here. I'm going to give you the drum roll. I'm going to let you have it, baby. Your number 1 film of 2017, baby. Let's have it.
So I have to ask you real quick, though, before I give it to you. What do you think it is?
You know what? I'm not going to lie. If it's not The Last Jedi, I'm going to be surprised because I figured The Last Jedi would have made your list somewhere. So I'm going to say it's The Last Jedi.
Okay. Well, Nick, I'm very happy to tell you that you're 100% wrong.
Damn.
It is Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water.
Oh, which I haven't seen, which I'm sure would have changed the landscape of my list.
I know, dude. Totally. The reason why this movie is my number 1 because
wow. I can't. I'm more shocked that The Last Jedi didn't make your list at all than I am that this is your number 1.
Well, the simple fact is that this is all an emotional thing for me. I have to literally sit down and think about the films that touched me in more ways than one. And The Shape of Water was how I worded it to Loisos. This year's La La Land. It took me to a different world. I felt love. I felt depression. I felt sadness. And I also was in awe over the amazing, beautiful spectacle that was this film. I love Alexander Desplat's score to this thing. And dude, Doug Jones as one of the most beautiful on-screen practical monsters of all time was just so much to take in. I can't tell you enough. It's a small, simple, quaint little quirky movie. It's not large scale. There's no action sequences that are really huge with explosions and everything. Well, I mean, there may be a couple fires and stuff, but just saying like, I love old school monster movies. And Del Toro has really disappointed me with his last couple of movies that I've watched. In this, you get the reality in your brain. It's there. You get the realization that he's one of the best living filmmakers right now. And I think it just comes down to the films that he's writing because he actually wrote this story. This was a pet project for him. He put all of his love and effort into this for years. And what came out was my favorite movie of the year. And Sally Hawkins as a mute, high security government laboratory custodian was so charming. I swear to God, Nick, if you see this, your opinions on Best Actress may possibly change. I know that for me, she's still right up there for me because the performances are stellar in this. I loved this movie. It's beautiful. It takes you to a place far away, much like Pan's Labyrinth did. And it is what movies are all about. So for me, my number 1 is Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water.
Wow. All right. Well, it just makes me want to see it all the more. I already know.
Oh, but I forgot to tell you. Oh, did I tell you that Michael Shannon's like fucking amazing in it? I'm sure you already know that.
It's Michael
because we
Shannon,
both love
so
him,
I didn't have to question that.
He's like, the film probably wouldn't get as far as it did on my list without him because he's so great in it. Just watch the way he chews his hard candy in this movie. It'll get you hard, like the hard candy. What's your number 1, man? I gotta know it.
Well, I mean, it's no surprise to anybody what my number 1 film of the year is because
Justice League.
I've already
Justice League.
Get the fuck out. No, you're fired. That's it. That's it. Epic Film Guys is done. It's over. No. There's only one film that I've talked about since I saw it that was just destined to be my favorite film of the year. Even when I see The Shape of Water, it will be so hard to dethrone just the best movie of the year.
What kind of drugs do you take?
I know what it is. I know what it is.
It's James Franco's The Disaster Artist, baby. I am so in love with this movie. It is such a brilliant, brilliant film. It's more than just a love letter to The Room. It's more than just a movie about making a movie. It's a movie about dreamers and dreaming, about going after what you want and never letting anything stand in your way. You know, all it really does is it just kind of places The Room within the frame of reference that is this larger than life character that is Tommy Wiseau himself. And it almost, when you watch The Room now, it almost makes the whole thing even more bizarre, knowing more about Wiseau than you did before you watched The Room. And man, even though Dave Franco in this film is a little bit of a letdown, you know, even though
he's no Greg, he's no Mark.
It's
just saying, though.
It is just an incredible film. I absolutely love this film. I can't wait to own this film when it comes out on Blue. I just fucking loved it so much.
Hi, doggy.
It is a very inspiring story. It really is.
It's such a good movie. I mean, literally, when I was making this list, the bottom part of this list, like from number, say, 5 or 6 on, could have shifted positions with a bunch of other films. We'll talk about honorable mentions in a moment. But like my top 2 especially, but like my top 3 or 4 were pretty easy. I didn't have as tough of a time with the top of the list as I did with the bottom of it, really.
Ooh, and this just in, I just got Loy Sauce's top 10 of the year texted to me. So,
Please
shall I or shall we?
In a few minutes, bitch.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tom.
Go ahead. You know what? Before we get to honorable mentions, why don't we go ahead and we'll drop in the top 10 of the year from Loy Sauce. Just rattle them off. Give them to me hard and fast, just like Loy Sauce.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised at where we're actually at because I have not seen his list up until this point, but we're fairly close on some of these films. Loy Sauce at number 10, Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Hey.
Number 9, It. Number 8, War for the Planet of the Apes.
Ooh.
Number 7, Baby Driver. Number 6, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Number 5, Logan. Number 4, Jordan Peele's Get Out. Number 3, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. Number 2, Blade Runner 2049. And at his number 1, oh yes, baby, we agree all the way, The Shape of Water.
I sucked a dick last night.
He did not. No, he did not.
I don't know why you had to throw
Mark.
that in there at the end of it. I mean, come on, Loy Sauce. All right, so Justin, we've already run so long on this segment. We've got to get to our honorable mentions here. So you said you had 8 of them. So let's just have them. I know what like most of them are, just knowing what's not on your list now. I know what most of them are, but just go ahead and rattle them off. What do you got floating around in that honorable mentions pool?
Okay, so this was a very difficult decision, but I'm going to rattle them off very quickly. I actually loved all these movies, very much enjoyed all of them, just some more than others. But I'm going to go with honorable mentions: I, Tonya, the French cannibal film Raw, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk, The Disaster Artist, Wonder Woman, Aaron Sorkin's Molly's Game, which I just had a chance to see the other day, Kong Skull Island. That's right, motherfucker. I love my monster movies. Shut up if you don't like them. Boom. Boom. I'd rather see Kong beating up a monster than your boring-ass Marvel movie. M. Night Shyamalan's Split, and a movie I just watched yesterday, which is fucking amazing, which I wish I had more time to soak in, but it's Brawl in Cell Block 99. God damn, a throwback to old exploitation films of the 70s. Vince Vaughn's greatest performance ever. It's brutal as shit. It's fun, and it's scary, and I fucking loved it. And my last on my most honorable mentions of 2017, I wish it was Haunted Ween, but you're not a new movie, Haunted Ween. I'm sorry. It is John Wick Chapter 2. God, I loved that movie. So those are my honorable mentions.
Ooh. All right, well, to rattle through mine really quickly, Darren Aronofsky's Mother. Not accessible enough. I feel like it really needed to be more accessible than it was, even though I really did enjoy it. Wind River, I can't deny it is a great film. for the most part, I had a few issues with it. We could probably talk about them a little bit later. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. As you said, Frances McDormand is amazing. Jordan Peele's Get Out. I loved this movie. I really, really enjoyed this movie. But unfortunately, I just couldn't find a place for it in the list. A film I saw last night when we were supposed to be recording this episode, Darkest Hour, one of my most anticipated films of the year when we did the most anticipated episode way back last January. This film is 100% Gary Oldman. He is incredible as Winston Churchill in the film. I really just wish that everything else in the film was as good as he was. Like, it's just one of those.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's one of those biopics, and it's one of those character performance films where really everything around him is just not as good as he is, and it's kind of glaring. But he is great in the film. Blade Runner 2049, which again I absolutely loved, and the last one, so disappointing, and I actually just swapped this out for the Florida Project before we started recording, War for the Planet of the Apes.
I honestly, I get why you did it. I liked the Florida Project quite a bit. Definitely a very investing film, but for me, War had a character that I was attached to emotionally throughout 2 other films that we were looking forward to seeing, and seeing that last chapter portrayed on the big screen was just so important to me. So yeah, I loved Willem in the film, and it was a great experience film, and actually it hurt me more than it made me feel good about myself, because I know a lot of people like
it's a tough watch. It is.
It's a very tough watch, but loved it. Thought it was a great film, but just did not happen to make. Again, going back to what we said earlier on, man, it's so hard. This year is so hard, man. I swear to God,
very, very tough year.
If we had taken 5 or 6 movies,
if you look at my honorable mentions, all but like one of these films is also the same rating that like my bottom 5 films in the list are. So you could easily, like I said, give me a different day and I'd probably swap something in for something else. I'd probably swap out Logan or something like that for whatever. Like there were certain films that were definitely like destined to be honorable mentions, like Mother. Like that was never really going to make my list. Get Out definitely could have easily made it in there at some point, because like I said, I really loved
Boy
it.
Sauce is mad. Boy Sauce is mad. He's not mad that he's not making the top 10 of the year list. He's mad that he's not making the biggest disappointments list. He's texting it to me all angry, saying, "Why was I not part of this episode?" So, I'm going to get beat for this tomorrow.
Well, speaking of most disappointing of the year, Justin, why don't we run into a quick break, and then we're going to be back to talk the most disappointing films of 2017, and we've got a lot of fan feedback on this as well. Some surprising lists, some surprising entries in there, I should say, from films that are on our best of the year list, high up our best of the year list that people shat on. So we'll be right back.
This week in epic film history.
Ooh, hello, epic film guys. This is Patrick Swayze's Ghost. I have a different voice up here, calling you from beyond the grave. This message is mainly for epic film guy Nick. Ooh, what's up, Nick? I want to mend this rift between us and start clean. Ooh, give me a chance to melt that cold heart of yours, Nick. I want to be your featured January actor. Ooh, but I mainly want to say I love you. By the way, Roadhouse, Ghost, Point Break, all classics, Nick. Check them out. And Donnie Darko's okay. Get on that one. But I've got to go. More Ghost voicemails to leave. Love you too, Justin. Patrick Swayze's Ghost. Ow!
Me and Epic Film Guy Nick actually got together late Christmas Eve, actually early Christmas morning. I was in town in New York.
And it was great to see you.
It was.
I must say.
Good to see you too, and you got to see the epicness of my hobo beard.
Oh, it was the first time I had seen the hobo beard in person, and the pictures don't do it justice, because he looks about 7 times more homeless than he ever could possibly look in these photographs. I thought he stumbled in off the street. Like, he looked like he just walked out from underneath the railroad underpass.
Hey, but I brought beer though.
You did bring beer, and it was a very good beer. Sierra Nevada's Celebration, which is a great beer. So thank you very much. It was very, very good, very, very good to see you, my friend. It was. In my brain, if I Google Patrick Swayze plus acting, it's just going to return 0 results. So,
ooh,
yeah.
Bird. I'll burn you. I'll put you on. I'll set you on fire, throw you into a bonfire, and just watch you roll around in it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back for the final segment of the show tonight. We've still got to talk, Justin, about disappointments. Now, we talk about this every year, but we don't like to do a worst of the year list because we could sit here and trash Transformers the last night and tell everybody how big of a piece of shit it is, but you knew it was going to be a piece of shit when you walked into that cinema.
And of course, I could sit here and I literally could take the Blu-ray copy of Guy Ritchie's King Arthur starring Charlie Hunnam, and I could literally take a giant shit on it. I could record that sound for you guys, but you know what? I'd rather not do that.
So
we're not.
It's not that some of the films that are the worst of the year won't pop up in the most disappointing list, but these are films that disappointed us so much because we were looking forward to them the most. Now, mine aren't numbered in any specific order, Justin. So I feel like we should just kind of bat it back and forth. How many do you have? I have 8.
I know Loisos has 5, and you know what? Honestly,
the sauce. Wait,
I only have 4. I only have 4.
You only have 4? Wow.
Of disappointments, yes. Big disappointments, yes.
Wow. I had.
You know what? I want to start off with mine though.
All right. Well, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'll let you riff here.
Because this is a movie that I think that could have been great, and I know that it's on a lot of people's worst of lists for the year and a lot of people's biggest disappointments of the year. But you know what? It fucking sucked, and it really upset me. It made me sad. It made me angry. And I actually took a giant dump after I watched this movie because of how bad it was. Yes, Ridley Scott, thank you. Thank you so much for coming back to the Alien franchise. And, I over the time frame of this movie being made, yes, we're talking about Alien Covenant. I thought about the fact that, yes, Neil Blomkamp, you made Chappie. Okay. You made some other stuff that wasn't so good called Elysium after you made District 9. But, I was like, no, let Ridley Scott come back to it. He made The Martian. He's all good now because Martian was great. No, I'm sorry. I was wrong. And I admit when I'm wrong. And I'm telling you guys now on the air that I'm wrong. No, Ridley Scott should have never let himself near the Alien franchise again, and now he's telling modern audiences right now that there's no reason why Aliens should not be as big as Star Wars and these comic book movies. It was the biggest disappointment of the year. I walked out totally upset over it, and I'm glad that the franchise is dead, and I hope that the franchise is totally dead. So yes, it's not numbered, but this was, for me at least, there's a great backstory to these aliens that does not need to be told, and there's also a great sense of just letting it be the way that it is, bringing it back to square one, and just let us see it the way that we thought of it and the original idea of them, and give it to us that way. And he doesn't see things eye to eye with fans. So fuck you, Ridley Scott, and fuck Alien Covenant, because it wasn't just a disappointment. It was, you ruined the franchise, buddy. You ruined it. It's gone.
You're definitely not alone. A lot of people that were checking in, because we got a lot of fan feedback for this, a lot. And we're going to give away some Epic Film Guys stickers, to all the participants that were a part of that. But yeah, a lot of people agree with you. Dave from Super Movie Brothers, I know, hated it. Caleb, I'm pretty sure, could not take a bigger wetter
one
shit
of our best episodes of the year because of him. Yeah.
Remember when he just had that entire list of things that he just fucking rattled off, and he just trashed the shit out of it so much. He hated this movie. Hated it. Caleb, congratulations, by the way. He just got engaged.
Oh, wow. Congrats, Caleb.
And I'm going to officiate their wedding.
I'm not so sure about that decision there, Caleb. So, but I still love you, buddy. Yep, we're going to hey, heads up. If he's ever listening, though, Caleb and I, with Loisos, we're going to be doing a special B-side this year. It's happening for real. I swear this time, because Nick keeps harassing us about B-sides. So
I do.
Quick little interjection there. Yes.
Do it. to it. Also made my list of most disappointing films, Justin. I wasn't nearly as disappointed in it as you or a lot of other people because I don't have the attachment to this franchise. But yeah, what else you got? What else filtered in there?
Okay, well, of course, there's Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I feel like we were all the way around, and I'll get to Loisos's list after we finish here. But we were all around the circle, really disappointed by that one. Man, I love you, Matthew Vaughn, but don't make any more of those. You need to do something else. And another film that, I wasn't anticipating so much, but the trailers looked very intriguing, and A24 rarely ever disappoints. And that's It Comes at Night with Joel Edgerton. I was really hoping for a great, psychological horror film. A lot of guys trapped in the woods, shit happens. People get blown away by shotguns, crazy creatures or zombies. And no, it's just another watered down human thriller and about family, which in its own right would be fine, but the marketing was so horribly put together. They really didn't know how to market the film, and so I went to go see it. Of course, I was expecting more than I got. And let's not forget, Nick, the biggest pile of shit this last year, a film you actually defended. And you're 100% wrong about it. Because you suck. And you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's right, it's fucking Power Rangers. That movie's such a big fucking pile of shit. I fucking hated it so much. I want to take it right now. I'm going to go buy the Ultra 4K Blu-ray fucking disc of it. I'm going to smash it in half. I'm going to shit on it, piss on it. I'm going to go find the hopester and let him jizz on it. Then I'm going to go feed it to some fucking other hopester person. Hobo, whatever the fuck. I hate it. It sucks. Fuck you for liking it. Fuck all you fans for saying that it was fine. It was okay. It sucks. It's garbage. I hate it.
Oh, shit.
I'm done.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, I've got a lot, Justin. I've got so many. Kings with the Golden Circle. Yeah, you already mentioned that. The Glastonbury sequence in that film was probably the most insulting thing I saw in cinemas this year. And I still feel like I'm watching that movie, even now. Because it's so fucking long. But just to plug in some smaller stuff here before I get to the big boys I got on my list. Ghost in the Shell, which I was at least sort of excited for, was sort of looking forward to it. And then the whitewashing controversy. Oh my God, they cast Scarlett Johansson. And then they actually made whitewashing a part of the plot of the fucking film.
We all kind of knew, though. I mean, we all kind of knew at that point, though, Nick. But I totally relate with you on that one. Yeah,
but
man.
that was in there. That was in there. Here's another one. Go fuck yourself, Wonder Woman. It's not good. It's barely passable.
Very good.
It's barely passable. Good. It's a landmark film.
You suck so bad.
It's a landmark film.
So
it's a female-directed superhero film with a female lead. Gal Gadot is amazing in the film. But Jesus Christ, the script is terrible. The fucking finale of this film is a bombastic CGI splatter fuckfest. And there's so much slow-mo in this film that it makes Zack Snyder blush.
Can I tell you something? It's better than Man of Steel.
You're so full of shit. Thank you, Dan. What else did I have in here? Jigsaw. Which I'm a big fan of the Saw franchise.
Saw that? Oh my God.
I am a big fan of the Saw franchise.
Who else saw that? Who else actually saw that?
Probably fucking nobody. But they promised that it was going to be a whole new take, and instead it was literally exactly the same fucking thing the last few Saw movies were. Oh, and then the worst part about the movie was that it takes Tobin Bell, and it puts this whole fucking side plot into the film where they do this whole thing with him, but it's just for the audience. It actually doesn't mean anything to the plot of the film itself. And that's like the most insulting thing of all, because it doesn't actually have anything to do with the fucking story that you're telling. Embarrassing. Just fucking terrible. All right. And then Split. Go fuck yourself. This movie doesn't belong anywhere near a best of the year list or honorable mentions or fucking anything. McAvoy's performance in this film is the only thing, and I mean the only thing that is even remotely good about it. The only reason people care about this fucking movie is the last like 30 seconds when all of a sudden they show Bruce Willis's character.
I'm telling you that's wrong, because I liked it from start
to finish.
The
girl in this film, the protagonist in this film is the most woefully inept protagonist in a fucking movie possible. Every stupid choice that a protagonist can make in a fucking film, this girl makes. It's terrible. It's just terrible.
Wrong.
And I don't know how you didn't mention this one. Oh, wait, because you actually enjoyed this fucking film, Justice League. I'm just going to read.
Hey, did you listen to my honorable mentions? Did you listen to my best of list?
It wasn't in there. It wasn't in there.
No, of course not. Because of the simple fact that and The Last Jedi, and I wanted to make this clear on the show. Just because I rated them highly or higher, or I liked them, does not make them good enough to be on my lists, and that's the reason why. As much as I actually really, really liked The Last Jedi, it didn't hit that mark for me that The Force Awakens did, where it brought me up to that level of, man, I felt special again to be part of the Star Wars universe. And of course, that was the nostalgia and a lot of other things included in there, but I still really appreciate it. And, maybe if I thought more about it, it may be on my list. But of course, Justice League would make my fucking list. Are you kidding me? There was no disappointment, Nick, because of the simple fact that we already knew, dude. We already knew going in after Batman versus Superman that there was a huge shift with Warner Brothers, and there was a huge shift with Snyder, and then Snyder had family problems, and they brought in Joss Whedon, and we just heard it over and over and over again. And we talked about it on the podcast 1,000 times. So there was no expectation from me for this film. So for me, it can't be neither a disappointment or an honorable mention or on my top 10, because you know what? It wasn't really anything. It was just a passable thing that happened, and that's as good as it gets for me.
See, and I'm just going to read out part of my little blurb here. This is what about. Fuck you, Warner Brothers, fuck you, Joss Whedon, and a hearty triple stack with bacon and bullshit sandwich. Fuck you to Danny Elfman for butchering the utter ever-living fuck out of what this film could and should have been. Basically, I loved Man of Steel. I really, really mostly loved Batman versus Superman.
You did love it. You watched it more times than anyone else in the world. You watched it more
That's
times
probably
than
true. Faults be damned. It doesn't fucking matter. They at least tried to have depth and character to them. This is a heap of fucking dog shit. It looked worse than a fucking cartoon. It was terrible. But it, Justin, and all these other films don't hold a candle. Now, this is a little bit of a cheat because I live in the shitty market that I live in. I didn't get to see this film until it went into wide release in 2017. It was released in very limited release at the end of 2016. You know what this movie is, Justin, and you know that I've got to play this sound drop for it.
Shut up! Shut up!
No!
Wrong! Now shut the fuck up and let me do my job!
Stop it, you weed, you baby! Shut up!
Live by Night
Shut up!
is one of the most insulting cinematic experiences I have had the displeasure of suffering through in the past decade. Ben Affleck fucking reads to you for 2 fucking hours. That's the movie. That's the whole fucking movie. It's Ben Affleck fucking reading to people. Doesn't matter how nice the production design looks. Doesn't matter how decent the performances are. You're still listening to the motherfucker just read. It's not how movies work. I have a writing degree. My writing professors taught me to show and not tell with words. With words, Justin. And writing is not a fucking visual medium. Fuck literally everything about this movie. I wish a bomb would get dropped on the pen that Affleck used to write this fucking movie. I wish there was really a no, just kidding. We actually shot this footage version instead of this fucking bullshit that we got. If this movie were food for homeless people, they'd starve to death. Okay, it is one of the biggest, most reprehensible shit piles that has ever been birthed onto a movie screen, period. I'd rather watch a movie where a porcupine fucks a pop figure of R2-D2. If an alien race discovered Earth, and this was the first thing they saw, they just nuked the planet from orbit and assumed we'd all be better off. Fuck this movie. I fucking hated this movie, and I was so excited for it after, Argo and The Town, and everything else that Affleck has had his hand in.
Don't put
as
him
a
down
filmmaker.
yet, though. Don't put him down yet, Nick.
He made this abysmal fucking piece of shit.
He can still make something good, though. He still can, but you know, it's funny.
You'll have to force me into a theater to fucking watch it. Force me into a theater to fucking watch it. I fucking hated this fucking movie. It's fucking garbage.
One mistake, though. How many great filmmakers have made one mistake, though? Nick's going off, but I've still not watched Live by Night, but at the same time, I understand how upset he is. He was disappointed. But guess what? I will never let a director make one bad movie and then change. I mean, Spielberg, come on. I mean, he's made some bad movies. I mean, if
at least Spielberg's never made a movie where he just fucking reads to you the whole time.
No. But, you know, Affleck was really drunk, and his his whole marriage is going down the tubes. And he was told he was going to be Batman, and then lots of bad things happen. But there it is. That's our list. Do you have anything else, Nick?
Nope. Go ahead and I know Loy Sauce has got some, so just go ahead and throw them in here because we've got just a couple things that I want to toss out here from different fans before we give away some more stickers.
Yeah, man. So Loy Sauce has his most disappointing list, and I think he threw this together, so he may change this in the next couple of days. So don't listen to him if he tells you otherwise. Number 5, Downsizing, which he said was a giant wreck of a film. Number 4, The Mummy. Number 3, Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant. Number 2, Kingsman: The Golden Circle. And of course, number 1 is, again, the biggest piece of shit of 2017. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It didn't even have the balls to call itself that. It just called itself Power Rangers. And, you know, we would rather watch Monster Trucks in D-Box, which we did in Monster Trucks. Yes, is better than Power Rangers.
All right. Well, we've just got a little bit of fan feedback. I just want to go through some of these to you, Justin. I'm just going to bat them over to you, and we can kind of react to them. Gemma S. King on Twitter, Ladybird. Whew. Lots of responses in here for The Last Jedi. I don't even feel like reading them all, but there were a lot of people who were very disappointed with that film.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people. Charles Venny, Logan. Every time I saw Logan, I just kind of stared blankly at the screen for a second. Like, huh.
It's because of the yellow costume. They just wanted him in the yellow tights.
That must be what it is.
And maybe you wanted to see his balls and the blue underwear part of the costume.
Best response I got was the Canned Air podcast, the Zapruder film. I just fucking laughed when I saw that. Director Brennick, the Netflix Death Note movie. That Snowman movie. Speaking of Fassbender making missteps this year.
No one saw that, though. No one saw that movie.
Yeah, no one, because it got fucking literally trashed critically.
I don't know physically one person that saw that movie. Death Note wasn't bad. It just should have been a miniseries.
Lots of mentions in here for The Dark Tower.
That of which only Loy saw and said he forgot it the minute that he walked out. So understandable.
Man, just these responses also. Duty from Shaken Not Nerd. Dunkirk. Fuck you, Duty.
What? Dude, did you?
He wasn't alone either. He wasn't alone either. There were a few others that also chimed in with Dunkirk.
Did you not watch it in 70mm? Did you not watch it in giant IMAX format? I'm sorry if you didn't. And if you did and you still felt that way, I really don't know what to tell you.
Got a few people in here mentioning a film that I didn't mention. It didn't make my most disappointing list because I wasn't looking forward to it and I expected it to be a piece of shit, just like the first one was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. A lot of people were very disappointed by that film as well.
Yeah, I liked it.
Somebody actually did say Transformers The Last Night, to which I responded, you expected it to be good?
I mean, well, yeah, I guess some people actually like those movies. I mean, there's still the Bumblebee movie coming out in 2018, Nick. So even
Mark Harris said it. Yeah, not a fan of it.
I saw a couple people say that. I get it. You know.
Jake Wilson over on Jake and Tom Conquer the World. Logan. I was so looking forward to this movie after that first trailer, but that movie was so depressing I couldn't stand it. This movie was a black hole of joylessness. It sucked the fun out of the other movies that were playing in nearby theaters.
Aww. Would you prefer a Marvel movie where everything is sugar coated and you eat it when you walk out, it tastes sweet in your mouth? I'm sorry.
Our good friend Paul from the Countdown, Kingsman: The Golden Circle, Atomic Blonde, which I never got a chance to see. Did you ever see that?
Yes, I did. Opening fucking night. And, you know, honestly, I can kind of relate to that. It didn't make my honorable mentions, my best of list, or my worst of list. There's some great fight sequences in it, but it kind of felt forced, even though I love the shit out of Charlize Theron, and she's great in the film, and she does all of her stunts perfectly. It just felt kind of like a really giant ham-fisted, like forced John Wick. I still own it in my collection in Ultra 4K, so if that tells you anything.
Patrick Sherwood also said Logan. God damn it. And Wellesley, Pirates of the Caribbean. What was that?
The first
Dead
mention
Men
of
Tell
that
No
film.
Tales?
Yeah. Everyone forgot that film.
Somebody else said Power Rangers in here. Brentley, Detroit. I heard Wayne hated Detroit, that fucking movie that, oh God, what's her name did? Catherine Bigelow. Catherine Bigelow
did it.
Yeah,
That's
with
correct.
John Boyega and everything like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all missed it. All of us missed it on the Epic Film Guys podcast. That's because I kind of heard mixed things about it. I love Catherine Bigelow a lot, but the film itself did not look that interesting to me. Maybe I'll catch it at some point, but yes. Wow.
A lot of people, I think probably
Brentley's like becoming his own film critic now. Is Brentley going to have his own show or?
Brentley, do not start your own show. Wait, start your own show, but don't make it a film podcast because no, there's too many of them. There's too many of them. And I don't even say that for our benefit, but I just say it because it's a giant, like, super crowded marketplace. But Justin, we've got some stickers that we're going to give away. Everybody that took part over there on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you guys all very much for getting back to us. We're going to do this a little bit more in 2018. Randomly throw stuff out to you guys and then go over it on the show. A lot of people just
stickers, we got t-shirts, we got digital codes. We got all kinds of stuff for you guys.
Probably the most popular responses in here were probably The Last Jedi. Justice League got a lot of mentions, and Alien Covenant I think was probably the biggest one. Alien Covenant was just abysmal. A lot of people not happy.
Understandably so. I can go. Hey, you. I can tell you right now, I'm disappointed that I haven't been as part of the show in quite a long time.
Is Justin okay? Did he just fall over onto the floor gagging and then you just grabbed the microphone?
I'm going to tell you that I want to be a main part of the show in 2018. I went down to New York City a few weeks ago, and I hung out with some really rich people. They put some nice clothes on me. They gave me some good booze. They even fed me McDonald's in the fancy section of Brooklyn. I felt like I was eating Cristal McDonald's or some shit. There's diamonds in it.
McDonald's. Jesus Christ.
I'm back on the show. I'm coming back. I want to watch movies with yous twos, but I want yous to pay for it. And Patrick Sherwood's going to have to start giving me money. He has to pay my salary. If he wants to see me on the show, he has to pay me at least $2.50 an hour for me to show myself up here.
Wow.
At least a couple lines or something. What do you think? Is that a good salary for me?
I don't know. I feel like he might be overpaying by like $2.50 an hour.
I heard about some guy that got so drunk last week. I was over in Endicott, not that far from you. He puked near a dumpster and that he had Nurchies. And I went over there and I found the puke on the ground. I actually ate up a piece of Nurchies pizza. There was still Buffalo Speedy chicken on it. I ate that shit. And then I swilled down Mr. Boston with it. And it wasn't actually that bad. I'll eat that shit all day of the week. But I love you. Yeah, I love you guys for what you do. You're making me popular, making me famous again. I want to be on T-shirts, the hats.
Believe me, we are not trying.
Why don't you invite me to live with you? I know that you're balling. I know you got millions of dollars in your wallet. This show's making you rich.
Check, sound check.
I don't even know how to respond to you right now.
I'm telling you this right now. This ain't the last time you're seeing me. I'll be back every episode. I'm coming back in 2018.
God help us all. Justin, it is time. Give Justin back the microphone. Pick him up off the floor.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
What did he do? Did he club you and knock you out with a bottle of Mr. Boston?
Dude, that was a chintzy-ass blunt that he walked in with. I thought it was some good shit. It was like straight up swag, man. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. We're going to give away 3 more Epic Film Guys stickers. Justin, are you ready for this? Are you ready? I don't know if you're ready.
I think this asshole that's in my living room right now wants to put the stickers all over his shit, and he probably should because it looks really dirty. I don't know, man.
We have a ton of entries. I did not even count the number of entries. There's like 40 or 50 here. There's a lot. But we're going to give away some Epic Film Guys stickers here. 3 Epic Film Guys stickers. Let's go ahead and hit it, Justin. One more time on the show tonight. The drum roll. Here it is, baby. More EFG stickers. Who wants them? Gidget Von LaRue, who hosts a retro cinema podcast down in Australia. So an Aussie listener and fan going to be getting some EFG stickers. Gidget, I'll get in touch with you over on Twitter. So that's awesome. So thank you, everybody, like I said, for getting back to us. We're going to be doing that a little bit more this year. And Justin, we've got to roll out on this show. We have run incredibly long this week. But before we go, I feel like we have to mention a couple of things. Number one, the biggest, the most explosively huge EFG swag giveaway of all time, Justin. Of all time, we're giving it away when we reach
all time.
We're giving it away when we reach 100 reviews.
Billion.
On iTunes.
100 billion.
Everybody start creating new accounts. Oh my God. But yes.
No, 100
We're throwing
reviews
t-shirts. We're throwing
on
stickers.
iTunes, baby.
We're throwing pint glasses. We're throwing digital codes. We're going to throw
I'm sending you beer. I'm sending you actual booze.
Maybe actual booze. Who knows? It's going to be the biggest Epic Film Guys prize pack we have ever given away, and it's coming your way. Once we get to 100 reviews, everybody that's already reviewed us on iTunes is already going to be entered to win. So if you've already reviewed us, fear not. You will definitely be a part of that drawing as well. One lucky listener. So get the word out. If you have not, first of all, reviewed us on iTunes, please review us. And if you have not subscribed to us on iTunes, please subscribe, because subscribing will help us grow up those ranks on iTunes. And it's the new year officially, Justin. So I officially have begun planning Livestream for the Cure 2.0. It's going to be this May again. I'm not sure the exact date just yet. We'll get that planned out probably within the next week or two. Going to be twice as big, twice as great as we had last year. I am planning for a lot of really, really great stuff. And yeah, I'm really, really hopeful that we can do it. We've got Modern Love coming up in August. Can't wait for that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. The Epic Film Guys are going to be there. They just announced a whole bunch of other shows. It has to happen.
Yay!
It has to happen, baby. And then, so many other fun things Justin and I have already talked about, potentially meeting up and doing a live show at the Alamo Draft House. Ooh, baby. It's going to happen. We're going to get it together.
All you have to do is talk to Loisos about that. He will really like to tell you when he can get you in. And he'll set up a show for you, Epic Film Guy Nick, and he'll tell you what movie we can do. And you just tell him what movie you want to talk about, and he'll make it a big thing at Alamo Draft House.
Well, thank you very much, Epic Film Frog. But we've got to run out on the show here. We've spent so much time talking about everything tonight. Thank you all very, very much for listening. Thank you all very much for everything you do. We're rolling into, Justin, this is the 5th year that the Epic Film Guys have existed. We started way back in 2014 on those video reviews, and we're going to hit 3 full years of the podcast this July. How amazing is that? How incredible is that?
It's amazing
that we've
I'm
been doing
alive
this for so long.
Yeah. I can't.
Well, it is amazing you're alive.
Yeah,
that is
man.
very, very true. But yeah, please find us all over the web on social media. Just search for the Epic Film Guys. You will find us, I promise. Coming up next week on the show, Justin, 2017's over. It's gone. It's behind us. We're finally putting it in the rear view, and it's time to look ahead. And we're going to talk about our most anticipated films of 2018, and it's going to be great. It's going to be an absolutely amazing time. Are you excited?
And I'm excited. Loisos wants to come on too, so we'll see if he actually ends up making his way on the show. He keeps complaining he's not part of everything, so we'll see if he's going to make his way on or not. I don't know. Maybe even he'll bring some friends with him. But.
Ooh, baby. But yeah, until next time, thank you all very, very much for listening. We love each and every one of you every single time. If this is your first time listening and you made it this far into the show, first of all, congratulations. We should send you some stickers just for doing that.
I'll send you some fucking money, actually. Thank God. Thank you for being part of the show.
Very, very much. You guys are amazing. For myself, for Justin, thank you all very, very much for listening. And
we will see you at the movies.
And I love Lisa so much.
Oh, hi, Mark.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.